Hi folks, a little bit of housekeeping and then we'll talk about Pluto going direct. Today is the last day where you can avail of my 30-minute $50 readings on how the eclipses are affecting, the current set of eclipses are affecting your birth chart. So we have eclipses going on with the North Node eclipses in Aries and the South Node in Libra. We have eclipses going on. That's the let's call them the old set of no, that's not right. There's the current set of eclipses. When eclipses change signs, they do it over the course of a year. So for about a year or so, we have a new set of eclipses coming into play, and we have the old set of eclipses, the current eclipses, closing out. So we've got eclipses that are current, old, on the Aries Libra axis, and we have a new set of eclipses that are going to be relevant till February 2027 on the Pisces Virgo axis. Eclipses move backwards. So the Aries Libra eclipses are still underway and exercising influence, and I would say they are at this point in time the more important one, because we're wrapping up these eclipses all the way up to the end of the first week of June of next year. And just between July and September of this year, 2024, the new set of eclipses started to enter the picture. And October the 2nd was a solar eclipse in Libra on that Aries Libra axis. So, and September the 17th was the Pisces eclipse, and we just wrapped up with on October 9th, for all intents and purposes, yesterday, a month of eclipses and the changes that they bring, and they open up or they close. What is being eclipsed out of our lives? A very relevant question. What is being eclipsed in? So today's the last day. Email me at the email address in the description box below if you're interested in getting the 30-minute $50 eclipse reading, and we can schedule it whenever it's convenient to us. But as long as I get your email. And if you're seeing this in Australia or in India or somewhere where it's no longer October the 10th, don't stress about it. Just as soon as possible, get me that email. But as soon as possible means in the next 24 hours or so, please. Just so it's not hanging out there. Yeah, so that's point number one. Point number two, and this is kind of relevant, I'm going to do my full moon in Aries on October the 17th is the full moon in Aries, conjuncting Chiron, squaring Mars. And I'm going to do the video for that on Monday the 14th, is it? Monday the 13th, is it? Monday the 14th. Monday the 14th of October. So I'm going to do the video on the 14th of October. The weekly overview. Yeah, I'll do both. I'm basically busy till Monday, so we'll figure it out. Everything will be fine. Everything will be fine. Everything will be fine. But that's when it's going to be the full moon in Aries. I think I've already started to talk about the full moon in Aries. For anyone who's really curious, watch the weekly overview for this week I did a couple of videos ago. It starts to talk about the full moon in Aries, Mars squaring Chiron, the conjunction with Chiron. I think what I want you to consider the most is that the full moon in Aries is not an eclipse, but it is the full moon related to the new moon solar eclipse in Aries on April the 8th of this year, which was, you guessed it, conjunct Chiron also. And the new moon solar eclipse in Aries on April the 8th was conjunct Chiron to the minute, not just the degree. It was an exact conjunction. And those of you who are astrologers or follow astrology, you know how rare that is. So we have a full moon in Aries that occurs just after the moon conjuncts Chiron. The moon conjuncts Chiron on its way to becoming full, but we're talking hours. We're not talking days. So it is conjunct Chiron, and they say with a new moon or new moon solar eclipse, something begins that then crests as we head to the full moon lunar eclipse. So just know that as you think through. I will talk more about that. This is kind of why the Aries kind of the eclipse special is still kind of relevant and still out there. But it is conjunct Chiron, it is squaring Mars. Some of these themes have been discussed in the weekly overview, and I will talk about them more as we head to that eclipse, but head to that full moon, which is not an eclipse, but it's a full moon. but it is conjunct Chiron. And I will explain what that means. But just, I think the other important thing is, as I do this video over the next week, just expect the energy to increase, to become more intense, to, as we head towards the full moon, expect to get busier. Perhaps expect the energy to become jangly, expect everyone's cup to start to overflow. And while it can be productive to work that way, it can also interfere with productivity to kind of feel like you have all these things to attend to, or things are becoming crazy in some direction. So it can interfere. As you know, I always say on this channel that the most productive energy is the week after the full moon, when the moon is still big in the sky. Our energy is still active, but we don't have the kind of intensity or jangling. But, you know, take advantage of both this next week and the week after that. A lot may get done. Things may come up, especially over the next week as we head towards the full moon. Just emotions, things might get jangly. So I just want to put that out there now as we head towards that full moon. Let me see, was there anything else I wanted to really address or talk about? No, I think that's it. I think those are the few housekeeping items. Pluto, my friends, goes direct on October the 11th in Capricorn. Pluto has been transiting Capricorn since 2008. I did a video on Pluto coming back into Capricorn, and Pluto came back into Capricorn when it came back into Capricorn on, let me tell you, give me 1 second. September the 2nd, Pluto retrograded back into Capricorn. So what's been going on in 2023 and 2024 is that Pluto moves very slowly, takes decades to clear a sign and therefore a house. So in 23 and 24, Pluto has started to move into Aquarius and then back into Capricorn, and then into Aquarius and back into Capricorn. In 23, it spent very little time in Aquarius and spent most of it in Capricorn. In 24, this year, it spent from January 20th to September the 2nd in Aquarius, September the 2nd to November the 19th in Capricorn, and then that's it. Then the next 18, 19 years in Aquarius. So when I did a video around September the 2nd about Pluto retrograding back to Capricorn, it's my most viewed video. It's 8 minutes long. There might be a correlation there. I might get the hint to keep my videos shorter, but will I? I don't think so. I can't see how. Irrespective, this is already 7.5 minutes long. No, I'm going to try. But the bottom line, I'll put a link to that video at the end of this. It was a useful 8.5 minutes. And I'm going to do this video as a brief reminder, which is going to be longer than 8.5 minutes, but a brief reminder because I still haven't got started talking about Pluto. One thing I want to mention to you, that's last video I did on Jupiter retrograde in Gemini. It has no flashy title. It just says Jupiter retrograde in Gemini, but I think it is a useful video. Now, I rarely mark my videos as important. It's really got to be something I need to get your attention with so that I don't cry wolf all the time, proverbially speaking. And you were just like, oh, he marks every video as important. But it's not so much the importance of it. I just think that the content is helpful. I actually think that it's a useful video, the Jupiter retrograde in Gemini video I did. It just doesn't have a flashy title to it. It's just about Jupiter retrograding and the planets in Sagittarius opposing it and squaring. Irrespective, you don't. All I'm going to say is, don't discount that video because it doesn't have a flashy title. All right, Pluto. When Pluto transits a sign, Pluto is transforming matters related to the house occupied by that sign, Capricorn, since 2008. I find for our highest benefit. And I find that it is a slow, but really massive, utter transformation in that part of the chart. And Pluto coming back into Capricorn between September 2nd and November 19th, with Pluto being retrograde from September 2nd to October the 11th, and then direct from October the 11th to November the 19th, and then moving into Aquarius, it's closing quotation mark, or it's closing parentheses, or it's putting a period on that transformation that he has been creating in the sign of Capricorn since 2008, trying to empower you in that part of the chart. And when Pluto retrograded in to Capricorn, I reminded you that if there are any pending items or tasks that you feel you need to do to help Pluto complete his transformation, it is time to do so. And it is nowhere now more urgent or more important to incorporate those Plutonian transformations into our life as Pluto spends his last month in Capricorn since 2008. Now, I found for myself that I actually have started to incorporate what Pluto has wanted me to transform, the last few items. Whether I'm doing it urgently enough or quickly enough or sharply enough remains to be seen. But I'm on a path now automatically that I'm just like, oh, great, that part of me is back. And it needs to be back. Remember what I've said about Pluto is that if you don't quite cooperate with the transformation, Pluto is capable of landing you with something that forces you to make that transformation. So if Pluto's been going over the 6th and he's been trying to get you to adopt a self-care regimen, the right diet for you, the right movement for you, the right rest for you. And if Pluto's been going over your 6th, he's been changing your employment or job or your routine or your habits or whatever, what have you, then if Pluto feels like you're not getting with the program, Pluto's fully capable of landing you with some situation that then forces you to accelerate incorporating Plutonian transformation. Oh God, I do have to start eating this, or I do have to stop eating that, or I do need to start to move in the right way more in this direction, or I need to do something about my work-life balance and I need to rest, or I need to do something about my habits and my productivity, or, you know, blah, blah, blah. Now that's one example. So where's Capricorn in your chart? How has Pluto been transforming that part of the chart since 2008 in a way that is empowering to you? Plutonian power struggles occur for two reasons. Either we are resisting that change because we're really attached to something, and Pluto knows, and chances are we know, maybe inside us, that is instinctively we know that it's not necessarily our path, and Pluto's trying to say, this is not where your energy should be going, or these are not behaviors you should continue to adopt, but we are holding on to something, and that creates resistance. Or the other kind of power struggle is that other people in our lives don't want us to change in the way that Pluto wants us to change, or even in the way that we want to change. And so it creates power struggles with them. Pluto and you know what you would like to do in the Capricorn part of the chart is there's a new line of work you want to be going in. If you want to empower yourself, if you want to deal with an addiction, if you'd want to deal with changing your partnership situation, if you want to, you know, what you know, depending on which house Pluto is, but if there are people in your lives who are like, no, it is, we want you to stay and remain in a certain, and sometimes people do it inadvertently, they're not your enemies per se, they're not trying to harm you, as far as that's not their intention. Sometimes it's just they do it inadvertently. Sometimes these are patterns. So that's the other thing that can create those power struggles under Pluto. But it is still, now Pluto is known for doing more intense, nefarious things as well, but they don't happen to everybody. But again, the theme in all of those comes back to self-empowerment and transformations that are healthy and right for us. So as Pluto goes direct in Capricorn for the final time in our lifetimes, certainly, and for many lifetimes to come, considering it takes it like 200 and some years to go around the chart, it's imperative over the next month, now that Pluto's direct and making its way out from Capricorn to Aquarius, but that by November 19th, if you can, which house is occupied by Capricorn, how has Pluto been transforming it? What behaviors, patterns, habits, what do you need to change, align with, finish the transformation on in the Capricorn part of your chart by November the 19th? And I would do it. You might find that there's a lot of alignment behind it. You might find that there's a lot of power behind it. You might find that you feel really good incorporating those changes. Okay, it's a relatively short video, but I think I would imagine, a helpful one for those of you who've been thinking about Pluto's transformations through the Capricorn part of your chart. It's a big change. 2008 to 2024. How the Capricorn part of your chart has changed and transformed, probably in a dramatic manner, a complete manner. And what is left? Finish it up. Okay. I'm having all these ideas for like 30-minute, $50 readings. I feel like I should offer one for Pluto. I feel like I should offer one just for Jupiter. I feel like I'm already offering one for the eclipses. Remember, that ends by the end of today. Email me if you want to talk about eclipses affecting your birth chart. There's also one that I'm offering on the water sign trines from Scorpio to Saturn to Cancer over the next couple of months. So just know that there is the opportunity to have a reading for 30 minutes on a single topic as well. And of course, there's my full hour-long 60 to 75-minute reading, which is a more holistic and complete reading, and some of you have had those as well. If you want information on any of those, my email address is in the description box below. Email me there and I'll get you the information. There's a thanks button underneath this video. You can use that to contribute to the channel. Subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already. Feel free to tell others about it if you find the content useful. Next to subscribe button, wiggly bell, a bell icon. Hover over that wiggly bell on top, click on that. You'll be notified when I do new videos. If you feel inspired to, please feel free to leave a comment or like the video. It gives it more circulation on YouTube. And I will be back in a few days with that full moon in Aries. So take a look at that Jupiter retrograde video if you haven't. Please contemplate the Plutonian changes that you need to make, if that makes sense to you. And yeah, I was going to say something that sounds very sad, but you know what? It doesn't. I'm trying to give this information so that you can all make sense of your own charts. Yeah, if you want my help with any of this for your birth chart, you know where to contact me. It's in the description box below. I'll leave it at that rather than keep hammering that point home. There's the Jupiter video. There is the weekly overview to kind of get attuned and get in the mindset of the Aries full moon, although there will be an Aries full moon video. And yeah, I'm going to say it for the umpteenth time. I'm saying the same thing over and over and over again, but I'm telling you, it will behoove us all to, it will be a source of power, a source of strength. It'll make you feel so good after a long transit like the Pluto one to contemplate how Pluto has empowered you in the Capricorn part of the chart, and to dot the I and cross the T there over the next 4 weeks, for 4.5 weeks. I will leave it at that so that you can contemplate that. All right, thank you. Take care.